Hi guys, welcome to your week. I have a video for you from last night's hand one, played at the RBC Sunday night speedball action. Last night I happened to watch a short video about Joe Rogan and his tips for speaking more powerfully. So today I'm going to try to go a little bit slower. It's always kind of a challenge to balance wanting to get you guys something that's digestible and yet comprehensive. So aside from speaking fast normally, I feel extra pressure to speak fast in these videos, but I'm going to force myself to slow down today, and we're going to talk about hand one, which has a lot of good points to it. So let's start off with the bidding. North would bid one heart. I think that's without controversy. And I believe it's also without controversy that the next couple of bids would be pass, followed by two hearts. West has nothing to offer. North should not do anything further with his minimum balanced hand. And we have the first talking point here as the auction rolls back to East. So the opponents have had a warning bells auction. That is, they've opened one of a major, raised to two of a major, and it goes check, check, back to what's called the balancing seat, who has shortness in hearts, support for all the other suits, is not vulnerable, has one suit that his side could potentially play at the two level. And this is just a, in my mind, slam dunk, automatic reopening double. We can't wait to have four spades all the time here. Three will suffice. And in these situations, to some degree, you need to close your eyes and find some non-pass call. And here, actually, like, this double isn't all that flawed. Okay, you do have short hearts and support for anything else. It's important to note that when the auction goes like this, whether you hold 5 points or 12 points is irrelevant. The opponents have told you that they don't have game values by virtue of stopping not only shy of game, but they also haven't made any sort of game try. They've basically told you the points on this deal are split half and half. You need to reopen with a double here. Let's review what can happen when we double in auctions like these. First of all, we could push them a level higher. It would always be a good thing for them to be playing three hearts instead of two. And I'll tell you from experience that even when the hands don't merit it, often people are scared to defend or think defense is less fun, and they'll bid three hearts on north-south hands like this, even when their cards don't even merit it. So that's one way to win. Another way you can win is you might actually have a make in two spades or three of a minor here. Okay, so obviously if we can get plus 110, plus 130, plus 140 on this deal, that would be a coup. We're never going to get that much defending against two hearts. And the third way you can win is you go down in your own contract, but the penalty doesn't compensate for the 110 that you were about to pay off in two hearts. It will very seldom be the case that you were both beating two hearts and your own contract is going down. So on an auction like this, we don't have to worry too much that we're turning plus 50, say, into minus 50. That they're just, when one side has a fit, the other side is very often going to have a fit. We're only at the two level. It doesn't make sense that nobody would be making at the two level very often. We could create a deal like that, but you want to be playing the odds in bridge, and the odds here are balance with a takeout double on this hand. Okay. It goes past. West should be happy to bid two spades. If you happen to be West in this auction and you find yourself with a decent hand, say, an ace more than this, remember not to get too excited. Your partner is balancing based on the fact that the opponents have stopped shy of game. And, whether he has 6 points or 10 points or 12 points, he's going to balance on auctions like these very liberally. Don't throw away the good job that he's done by getting excited if you happen to hold, as many as 12 points. He's bidding your values for you. The opponents told him that you had values. He's bidding them for you in essence. Don't crumple up his good work and overbid at this point. And really, this ought to probably be the end of the auction. I did one exercise where I sat two bots north-south. And one thing that they did do that I could mention here is that when the auction started like this, the south hand actually redoubled, which I kind of like. Redouble just says, I have a defensively oriented hand and I have a max relative to my previous bidding. And this is exactly what South's got here. You know, it's only a 9 count, but remember that his hand is capped at 10 for the 1 heart, 2 heart bid, and that flat hands tend to defend very well. Okay, so these, like the jacks and the minor suits, are going to tend to be better defensively oriented cards than offensively oriented. And then certainly you have the ace king of spades, which almost surely is 2 tricks on defense, no matter what the opponents play. So if we wanted to be a little frisky here, redouble says I have a max defense and potentially would set your side up to make a double of 2 spades or 3 of a minor. That's one way that they can counter you aggressively balancing. Anyway, just wanted to throw that out. Even if it did go redouble, like West could bid 2 spades still, and they're probably not going to find the double. On this hand, it is true that if they defended perfectly, and doubled you, they could beat 2 spades 2 and get 300 for a top. But you've got to understand the parlay that they're going through there. First of all, they've got to find like the redouble here. They've got to have the courage to actually make a penalty double of 2 spades when you're not vulnerable and when neither of them has an obvious double of 2 spades. Then they've got to get it 2. Like if they get it 1, that's still only minus 100 when you're not vulnerable. A lot of things have to happen for 2 spades to go poorly for East-West here. So full marks to patrons Renee Getz and Audrey Schull for getting this situation right. 5 pairs were faced with this decision. Audrey and Renee were the pairs that are the people in the balancing seat that found the double. Full marks for doing that. Now I want to talk about the offense in 2 hearts because I saw some problems there also. So for this part of the video, let's just pretend that East hadn't heard this whole speech and passed out 2 hearts. And really this is the way that 2 hearts would play. It's the way that 3 hearts would play if they wanted to bid that. After Audrey doubled, I bid 2 spades at our table. And for absolutely no reason, North-South continued to 3 hearts. It happens all the time. People just they paid their entry fee to declare the hands instead of try to get the most match points, I guess. So often, even when you've done the quote theoretically incorrect thing, the opponents are going to let you off the hook because they have ants in their pants. They just can't stand to defend the hand instead of declaring it. I don't know why, but observationally, that's what happens a lot of the time. So we actually did manage to push our opponents up to 3 hearts. Let's talk about the play in hearts, and then we'll wrap up. So I think what's very normal against 2 hearts is that the opening lead is going to be the king of clubs. Here, I touched on this last week, but here you have an honor sequence with 2 cards at the top, and it's probably better to lead the top card here than to lead 4th best. And particularly here, it'll work out really well. West, probably doesn't want to waste the 10 of clubs here. Remember that when partner leads the king, she is implying the queen. And with the 10 sitting over the jack, I wouldn't want to spend it signaling. So I'm just going to play the 8. If we are declare here, what I'm going to do is just look at all the suits that have options on how to play them. Okay, and here they're just going to take their 2 clubs at some point. The diamond suit is easy enough. We want to finesse for the queen of diamonds at some point. The board has jack 10 and we have ace king in our hand. Quick side note that when we're doing this, like if we get to play 2 hearts and the opponents don't interfere with that, you can be pretty certain that the suits are breaking evenly when they've left you undisturbed in an auction like this. So I don't think we have to worry about things like 5-2 spades or 6-1 diamonds, anything like that. The opponents would have bid if they had half the deck in any shape. Okay. So that's the way we want to play diamonds. Spades, there's actually a couple of options on how you might play the spade suit. We could play out the ace king, and if anyone had the queen doubleton, that would give us 3 tricks. I don't think that's super likely here. I think you would have heard from somebody with a 5-card spade suit. The other legitimate, like 25% shot for picking up all spade tricks here is to play east for queen 10 and to double finesse for that, right? So we could lead the jack. You would have to cover with the queen. We'd win the ace. And then later on, we could finesse him out of his 10x, right? We've got the 9, the board's got the king 8. So actually, I would probably take a double finesse in spades here on the 25% chance that East had both the queen and the 10. And if he doesn't, we haven't given up anything over banging out ace king, right? We've lost the same one trick that we were always going to lose. Anyway, that's the spade suit. The heart suit, probably the best way to play it is if we can get to the board, we want to lead one towards the jack. And this is going to cater to West having king, queen, potentially like king, queen, small. So if we lead one towards the jack, we're actually going to be able to get away with just one loser in the trump suit if it actually is king, queen, third with West. So this is the kind of talk I would be giving myself when that dummy comes down. I'm not necessarily sure how many tricks it is, but I've got a plan for each suit, and I don't need to rough anything in the dummy. Therefore, we can kind of start the trumps as soon as it's convenient. So to review, when I play spades, I probably want to lead the jack out of my hand to try and play east for queen 10. When we play diamonds, we want to lead the jack from the board at some point. And when we play hearts, we want to lead one towards the jack at some point. So without further ado, East can continue clubs. This is where we're glad that we retained the 10, right? We can just win that. Let's say that they continue clubs and North roughs. And spades is the suit I want to play from my hand. So I'm in my hand, might as well do that right now. And remember, we are playing east for queen 10 here. If our jack loses to the queen, it's no big deal because we're still going to get the ace and the king, which are the only tricks we would have gotten anyway. And we don't have to worry about like that. There's not going to be a rough here. Okay. Nobody's there. They can't do anything scary to us. So East does not cover the jack since he doesn't have the jack. And I guess we'll go ahead and play low in case he ducked the queen here. North wins that. And, you know, let's say he returns a spade. Remember, we're not too concerned that the spades are as bad as 5-2 or 6-1 because somebody with long spades would have balanced in this auction. Okay, we don't have to worry like the second round of spades is getting roughed. You know, you spend a lot of your bridge life worrying about things getting roughed. And sometimes on reflection, you'll realize it can't really be the case. And this is one of those situations. So West has returned to spade here. We go ahead and win that on the board. At this point, we know that we want to play diamonds and hearts from the board side. While we're here, let's go ahead and play this diamond. And we're leading the jack. We've got to lead the jack. If we lead the 8, we blow our finessing position. Okay, the 8 would lose to the 9, and therefore we end up blowing the power of our jack 10, right? So West follows a principle here, which is cover the second of touching honors. You would duck this. We would shrug, play the 7. That wins the trick. That's great. We're still in the dummy. The only reason we need to be in the dummy is to lead hearts towards the ace jack. That'll also help us pull trump. So all signs lead to it's time to play trump. This trick goes 3, 5. We're going to play the jack to cater to West having both the king and the queen. That's going to lose. I want you to take one more time out here. As North, realize that the only trumps you are missing are the king, the 10, and the 8. When these are 2-1, it doesn't matter what we do on the second round. When they're 3-0 remaining, it doesn't matter what we do on the second round. So we can kind of just, as soon as we get the lead, bang down the ace and go about our business. Let's say that East continues a club here. It doesn't matter what North does. Let's say he pitches a spade. We rough that, lay down the ace of hearts, find out that they're 3-2, which is what we figured the whole time. When they don't balance, it's almost a guarantee that the trumps are going to be 3-2. At this point, all you do is just play out your side winners for making 2. Okay? So if you sell out to 2 hearts here, and we'll go up here to the score comparison, it really ought to be minus 110 for the good guys and 12.5% of the match points. Sometimes you'll push them to 3 hearts and they'll go down 1 and you get a 50. Sometimes they'll just let you play 2 spades and you'll make 110. That shouldn't have happened. It would be hard to beat 2 spades by 2, but really 2 spades ought to be going down. I noticed that, like, if you went down in 2 spades, that would be a 50% score, whereas plus 50 and 3 hearts would now be 75%. But you're going to get good scores for the things that can happen when you balance against 2 hearts and either get to 2 spades doubled, 2 spades undoubled, push them to 3 hearts. Basically, all the things that can happen, all the outcomes that can happen from there are going to be good for your side. They won't 100% always be good for your side. Sometimes you're going to get a 0, but the alternative of sitting by and passively accepting 12.5% on this board, it's just unacceptable if you want to win bridge games. Hope you enjoyed this deep dive into hand 1, both the balancing aspects, the defensive aspects, and the declare thought process, which is we can go ahead and pull trumps, but I'm going to look at each suit and decide how I need to play it. And then I'm kind of just going to, when I'm in this hand, if there's a suit that I need to lead from this hand, I'm going to play that suit. And when I'm in that hand, if there's a suit I need to play from that hand, I'm going to play that suit. Hope this video helps you guys and you have a great week. RBC meets virtually on Tuesday and Thursday, including Thursday night. There's a virtual meeting. That's kind of the club wrap up from last year, maybe some awards and stuff. There's a Zoom link that got sent out. I think that's 6 o'clock or 6:15. Hope to see some of you guys on that, and happy bridging. Talk to you guys soon.